Question: what comes to mind when you hear these words? Edibles, wax, CBD, flower, sativa. Yeah, you get it. They're all related to cannabis. You know, marijuana or weed. Today, people everywhere, from the White House to the State House and to the Big House, are talking about legalizing marijuana. This is Yaz Hurston. Join me in this journey as we delve into the world of the evolutionary cannabis industry. Welcome to Blunt Discussion.
Yes, y'all. This is Yaz Hurston, listening to Blunt Discussion. And I am displaying my new merch, my new apparel. I hope you like it. Thank you. This t-shirt can be yours for $19.99. Just trying to, make things work. So Blunt Discussion is a trailblazing, no pun intended, trailblazing podcast that's talking about the burgeoning industry of cannabis. And we try to bring people on to not only provide them with a platform, but to learn about what they learned and what they're doing. And to talk always about the need to understand and give a better, a more complete education to this incredible plant. So with us today, we have a young man who I think is incredible. He has taken his skills and made it.
Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. And made it for the betterment of everybody. Chef Saint Mykel. He's a native of Queens, New York, has been trained under Chef Hank, disciplined in the culinary styles of Asian cuisine for 10 years, sharpening his understanding of flavors and combinations. Chef Saint is a well-versed and talented infusion chef who has more recently focused his skills in preparing cannabis-infused dishes, partner with Supreme Green events, as well as catering other private culinary experiences successfully, delivering a defined, elevated perspective on edible cannabis culture by way of cuisine. It's very interesting. Currently, Supreme Green's Cuisine and Chef Saint have collaborated to create a cannabis-infused honey, to which Chef Saint has created multiple versions, one being a full-spectrum THC nectar, CBD nectar, and hybrid honey nectar with both CBD and THC combination. Chef Saint's mission of passion is to forward the delectable cannabis consumption to the forefront once it's legalized. Indeed. Of high cuisine, as well as the cannabis community through innovative menu creation, tinctures, and an education perspective. I give you Chef Saint Mykel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Blunt Discussion.
Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have a question for you. This is a quote, and I just want to, before we begin, I want to say this quote to you, and I want you to, and being that you are a chef, maybe you can explain what this means to you when you hear this quote.
Okay.
Now, I didn't tell this to everybody. I didn't tell him the quote before we got here, so he's going to hear this for the first time.
So this is fresh.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. This is a quote by Bob Marley.
Uh-oh. It's the man right there. That's super lyrics.
Absolutely. And the quote is, when you smoke the herb, it reveals you to yourself. So what does that mean to you? What do you think about when you hear that?
I haven't heard that quote in a while, and I really, really appreciate that you brought that back for me, because now hearing that quote again, it makes me think about, my experience with cannabis, my experience with marijuana, and how it's gave me a space to kind of feel myself out, to kind of get into an intimate, quiet zone. And I think that's what cannabis, and that's what Bob was trying to say. It's like, there's a space for you to kind of find out who you are, because it quiets down. Usually there's a stigma behind cannabis, and people are all afraid, and they think it's nervousness, but there's a vibration in the smell of it, and the look of it. From the moment you see it, it's all beauty, So it's all good vibes. So I think it gives you the space to find yourself. I think that's what he's trying to say.
I think, the reason why I brought this up, I just felt that energy from you that you needed to go deep for a minute? When you walked in, he was like really deep. Like, no, you don't. So tell us a little bit about how you got engaged into really combining and confusing the cannabis plant into your food.
That's interesting because I first started doing cannabis infusions with the honey. I wasn't even thinking about doing food at first. I love cooking. I've been cooking for years, but I wasn't thinking about putting cannabis into food until I started working with the honey. My mom has arthritis. My father has multiple sclerosis, and I deal with just not wanting to work with Advils and things like that. I'd rather just deal with a holistic state of living. So I tried to take the honey because honey is naturally a medicine, and it's a good transfer for medicine. And I put cannabis together with it. And my mom doesn't complain about stress on her knees, and she was a nurse for like 30 years. And she doesn't complain about stress anymore. She's just, she called me one day and she was just like crying about her pain. And this is a woman that takes medication that was prescribed to her from doctors. And I already told her, like, a little oregano oil, that'll help you out. But I started studying cannabis. I'm like, how could this work? Because I smoke cannabis all the time and I know what it does for me on a smoking level. And if I have ailments like stomach aches, it helps mild stomach aches. It really helps, from just smoking it. So I said, let's take it to the next level. Let's put it with another medicine. So I took honey and took cannabis and put it together. And
so you have in front of me honey.
Mm-hmm.
And so this honey, it probably looks like it's the truth right here. I don't even know.
Thank you.
I don't know what is in it, but it just looks like it's
a nice little honey.
Yeah, it's a little honey thing. Yeah. So you usually put this in your teas or anything like that?
I try to market the honey to make it multifaceted. I mean, you could drizzle it on some vanilla ice cream and have a day. And this, do a little parfait. You can drizzle it on something, real light. You could even put it on your salad. I mean, because there are, balsamic vinaigrettes, and then drizzle a little honey on it, and now you have an infused salad. Mm-hmm. But I love the honey because it's so transferable in so many different dishes. That's what got me to putting cannabis into food, and then taking now coconut oil and taking the coconut oil and infusing it. And it got me more inspired from just working with the honey. So the honey is really lit. And actually, we're working on the name. We have the name locked down to some degree, but as soon as we get it bottled, we're gonna reveal it, and hopefully you have us up the next time to show you about that.
So
once it's legal.
Yeah, I understand. You got to be prepared. I'm not mad at you on that.
Indeed.
Being prepared is very important.
Yeah, you got a blueprint.
That's right. So you're thinking of infused meals, so clearly you do this in the privacy of your home with folks and stuff.
Indeed.
What type of events are those? What's that like?
Okay, so
is the point to people to get high, or is the point to eat your food? Like, what's the point of this?
I appreciate you asking that question, because that is one thing that I think is important. I don't think that we should just be, when you're drinking, you shouldn't just be drinking to get drunk. You should be drinking to celebrate. You should just have a little bit just to enjoy and kind of loosen yourself up. It shouldn't be something to go to drown yourself in. So I think it's the same thing with cannabis and the experience around that. So the food has to be delectable. Delectable food leads people into a nice, calm space. Now you're sitting in this space, so my events are more so on a level of relaxation. You want to take your shoes off kind of status. You want to be comfortable, and then there's education within that as well. I mean, you don't literally take your shoes off at the events, but it's that comfortable. But there's education in it, because I think a lot of people are smoking cannabis and getting the effect, and they don't have a relationship with it, because you have to know the plant. You have to know what you're with in order to really love it, in order to really be involved with it. And
elaborate on that. What does that mean?
Okay, cool. So like, for instance, like a lot of people just smoke cannabis. I don't want to blanket it, but it's a majority of people that smoke cannabis just for the psychedelic effect. And there's so much specificity with the psychedelic effect that you can reach to if you know the plant. Like if you know a kush, if you know a sour diesel, and if you know what it does for you, if you specifically for your body, you'll have a better experience. You'll have a better experience around people with it. So, because it's for a forum, it's for community. Shamans and all types of medicine people have used these plants to have community, to get to an elevated space. And I think that's the experience that I try to create, using honey, using the food.
So, that's very interesting that you say that, because I do find that a lot of my peers or younger, they don't necessarily know what they're consuming.
And that's
And
interesting.
do you
It's
find yourself
scary.
educating? Right. Why do you find yourself? First of all, why is that scary? And do you find yourself educating a lot of your peers now that you're doing this?
I love sitting down and speaking with people. So I'm engaged in cannabis right now, and it's got me on a level of like research that's just insane. So anytime I get the opportunity to just study a plant, especially because I'm cooking with it now, and I want to know what the strain can do for the flavors and the sugars inside the food, I got to know everything about it. So I make sure that once I know something, you pass the water on. It's not just for you. You got to pass the water on. And I find that once you know what you're smoking, like I said before, you have a better experience. The people around me have a better experience from knowing what they're smoking, because then now it's like.
So how has it been when you've shared this with your friends? Like, do you find that you've made a difference in in communicating that with them? Have they now thought more about what they entail? They know what their intake, how they're impacted if they have a kush or
definitely
like a sour diesel or something like that.
And they can tell the difference. They can look at it and see the difference. They can't get duped out there, because there's an abundance of really uncured weed. Let's just say we're not going to call it bad names, but it's just not grown well. But it's still out there, and people still smoke it. So if you knew what you were smoking, you wouldn't smoke that, because it's just you want to eat the best broccoli. You don't want to eat 3-day-old broccoli that's just been sitting there. You want to, that because your body speaks.
So you holding people accountable now. That's
you gotta,
the level of
listen,
accountability.
Yeah, well, it's really for you, because this is who I am as a person, because I want you to find your space where you can provide greatness, and you can only do that from putting the right things in your body. You can only do that from the right water, from the right cannabis, from the right conversations, so then you can go back out and give it back out, and now we're flowing.
So when you cook, do you extract yourself, or you get the oils and you put it in? You're that talented? You're doing multi?
Myself.
Wow.
Yeah, I extract myself. And I started old school with just putting it in a jar and infusing it over time. That was the first lesson that I learned, was because I didn't have machines or anything like that, and I didn't understand how to do it over heat. But once I learned how to do it over heat, it was over. Like, I actually have tincture just sitting right now, not overheat right now, but it's safely sitting in a dark area.
Somewhere far.
Yeah, somewhere far in California.
Right, thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. And how often do you have these events? Do people call you for special events, or you cater?
That's really what it is. I cater my services. I cater the amount of education and information I have, and I kind of package that into a night for people and ask them if they want to come. And if they feel like they want to come, they just come through, and we share each other's space, and we share each other's experience on cannabis and on life, really, because you want this to be an everyday thing. You want this to be a part of your life. I feel like if people had maybe cannabis tea in the morning, they'd be able to relax. They'd be more efficient at their jobs, because anxiety stops you from being dope. It's fearful, it stops you from flowing. And I want people to flow. So, these events are really, I actually have to plan for another event soon, because I really want to bring this back to the people. But I've been in the lab just working on recipes, working on how we could really make this a flavorful thing, and make it healthy too, because Supreme Green Cuisine is trying to be more on the green side.
Sure. Yeah. So tell us where we can find you, and how, if we want some of this delectable cuisine, how can we make this happen?
So you can find me on Instagram at Supreme Green Cuisine, straight, no dashes or gaps, Supreme Green Cuisine on Instagram. Or you can find me at Gmail, exactly the same, Supreme Green Cuisine at gmail.com. And we could take it from there. I mean,
Supreme Green Cuisine at Gmail, or Supreme Green Cuisine at IG. I know.
It happened to me when I was first making it. I was like, Supreme Green.
And then you have some honey, you're really not going to be able to say
it. You know what I'm saying? But it was, you could reach me at Gmail, or you can reach me at Instagram, and it's straight that for now, until we put up the site. And I can't wait. I'm excited. We just keep on building, and it comes from community. It comes from educating people, because we shouldn't have any stigmas around this. The only thing we should be afraid of is the politics around this, because it's such a gray area, and it's only gray because we have to put some light into it.
Sure.
And we'll take that for another day, But
so in 5 years, where do you see Saint Mykel or Supreme Green cuisine in 5 years from now?
In 5 years, I see Saint Mykel, the chef. I guess I'm gonna have to speak life. You know, I'm at the forefront of cannabis for the East Coast. I'm responsibly speaking with other people, cultivating a great community for this. So it's no longer this thing where you see people smoking weed and you have this judgment. Even changing the word, you know, like, because it's cannabis. If we love something, we should speak in love, and we should understand. You know, even the words that have been created to abuse the plant, to make you know, away from the plant, and weed is one of those words. So I mean, if we think about what a weed is, you know, but, you know, I want to just be in a space of solidification as a chef, as a cannabis chef, and I want the company to just grow. I know we'll have products in 5 years, definitely. I mean, staple products.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Saint
I appreciate
Mykel,
you
you're
having me.
awesome.
You're great.
Supreme
The
Green.
apparel is wonderful.
My para is dope, right?
Yes, it is. I love it. I'm looking at it right now.
Thank
That's
you.
fly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You could get a shirt.
Thanks.
Supreme Green Cuisine. Please listen out for its further accomplishments. And, you know, I wish you the best, and I'll continue to pray for you.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're quite welcome.
Yes.
All right. Well, this has been a great show. Blunt discussion is always bringing things into light. And we'll see you the next time. This is Yaz Hurston, the Blunt Discussion. This has been a Say Yaz Productions.